Okay, sorry, I just had to pop and open the door. I'm working from home today, so there might be some noises. I apologize. I will click the, I'll put the recording off if my dogs bark, but they're sleeping at the moment. So that's the Learn line, that's the submissions, assignment 1, assignment 2, and your interim report and your final report to make sure. And you can include your timesheet if you did keep one for my records. I'm happy with that. Okay, so things to do for your preparation before you go on prac. One of the things we talked about was, and one of the students who'd been to see her mentor talked about, was looking after yourself and presenting yourself for practicum. So you will be in a preschool, it's play-based, so you need to, you know, wear casual, tidy clothes. You know, you can wear a polo shirt or not. You should wear closed-in shoes. If you are wearing shorts, they need to be halfway down your thigh. They can't be these little tiny shorts. So they should be long shorts or long pants. You should have a top that covers your shoulder because that'll be in line with the sun safe policy at the school. You need a broad brimmed hat, a hat that goes all the way around, not a cap that covers you, because that's what you're demonstrating to the children, that you're also sun safe. You need to use sunscreen because you will be outside during play times. Excuse me. You need to take a bottle of water and some food, a lunchbox. You need to look after yourself. You need to make sure you have breaks as well and have time to eat and drink. Of course, in your lunchbox, you need to demonstrate healthiness. So don't come with a lunchbox full of Tim Tams or something. You need to come with healthy food. So the children will probably be curious about what you're eating if you're sitting with them to eat or not. So you need to demonstrate your healthiness, apart from the fact that it'll be much better for you if you're eating healthy food. Okay, so that's about our appearance and presentation. The other thing you agree to when you talk to your mentor is the length of your day, what time you're expected to arrive. You don't just turn up whenever you like between 8 and 9. You sort of decide if the program, as it does in the territory, often starts at 8. So you need to arrive 20 minutes before the program starts, or the agreed time that you and your mentor have decided. You also should be staying an hour later than the program, as we discussed with the handbook as well. Okay. So, so planning your work to get ready for prac, you need to be doing reflections every day. So you need a notebook or on your laptop, a folder for your reflections. Your reflections should include the date, the time, and some information like that, so you can refer back to them anytime. So you should also always do reflections every day and record those. 1 or 2 of them you might not share with your mentor if you've written something that's a bit more emotional or something like that. But most of them your mentor should be able to read those, so they're professional reflective analysis of your day. You might start out being quite descriptive, but as you develop your reflective thinking, you'll begin to use it as a tool to improve your practice, which is what it's about, and improve the outcomes for the learners that you're working with. So don't underestimate the power of the reflective journals that you'll be keeping. And you can read the Sellers chapter in the library under EPE101, which gives you some theoretical underpinnings around reflection. You can also refer to page 7 of the Early Years Learning Framework Educator's Guide, where reflection and that way it's used and the importance of reflection is covered on that page. So you'll also be engaging in policies and what they look like in the school, and how the preschool is attached to the wider school and what policies are used. I referred earlier to what you're going to wear, and so we've already discussed some sun-safe policy: the hat, the sunscreen, the covering your shoulders, you're covering your feet, that sort of thing. So we're adhering to health and safety policies and sun-safe policies there. And you'll be linking a little bit with communities and families, but you'll be doing that as a shadow to your mentor. So you'll get to meet some of the families and greet, of course, the way that happens when you're in the morning on arrival, and when parents leave and when they come back, etc. So you'll have some, but you let the mentor take the lead with that. You'll be finding out and making some notes about the whole routines of the whole program. If it's a 3 days, 2 days program, alternate weeks, or 2.5 days and 2.5 days for the two groups of children. There might be an occasion on the routines on timetable when a music person comes in, for example, or they go off to the big school to do big motor and small motor activity program, or whatever it is, swimming, whatever it is that happens, going to the library. So you'll get to find out about those sorts of routines, when the outdoor program is, the indoor program is, eating time, sleeping time, greeting time, that sort of thing. You'll also make notes, take something with you so you can actually draw the outline of the indoor area, the outline of the outdoor area, which later will help you refer to planning what kinds of activities they have. So you need to take documents or a notebook ready to be able to make those observations. So your readiness to make those observations. You'll have also looked up on the EPE101 website at those 7 quality areas, and you'll familiarize yourself with the first 4, because those are the ones you'll be writing a paragraph on each of those in your assignment 1. So example, in your first week reflections, you'll be looking at the school structure and its resources, how the preschool connects to the school, how it's separate, like an island in the school grounds, which doesn't where the children don't mix with the other children. You'll be thinking about the planning cycles, so you can do some reflections on that, what the staffing looks like, how inclusion plays out in that setting, and health and safety, which we've referred to. So you can set yourself up to not be doubling up, to be sort of doing this in the first time. You'll also be thinking about building rapport and relationships with your mentor and staff and the children that you're working with as well, because that's very important. So before you go, you'll be going to the in-school site. You'll be downloading the documents for EPE101 that we referred to before, your requirements, your guide, and the forms, the interim form and the final form, and if you wish, the timesheet. You'll be taking 2 copies of those in hard copy to your mentor when you go there. But you'll also probably email them once you've got the contacts for your mentor. Email those and make a time to meet up. But do take the hard copies in just to help your mentor so they don't have to be searching for everything. You will also, besides the EPE101 website, you'll have also have a PDF on your laptop of the Early Years Learning Framework Educator's Guide and the Early Years Learning Framework, the 46-page document at hand to help you with your planning. And if you're working in the Northern Territory, you should have with you the preschool, the NT preschool curriculum. Not all preschools use it, but they might use it. If they use it, you use it. It's really a step-by-step way of using the Early Years Learning Framework. So if they use it, you use it. So your assignment work for assignment 2 includes those reflections, or some of them observations. So you'll go to the in-school site and you will download or have a look at some of the documents in the resources for you, which we've looked at before, that have observations. So you'll have an observation format that you can make yourself, really, if you want to, where you've got the name of the child you're observing, the date and the time, and what the context is. You'll have a column for the time, a column for the observation, a column for the analysis and its links to the Early Years Learning Framework outcomes, and then you'll have a column for possible planning that leads on from that. So something like that you can use, but see what the teacher's using in the setting as well. But you're going in prepared. You'll also have some formats for behavior management that that you can take with you. You can make them up yourself, see what they're using, or get some guides from the resources on the in-school site. A lot of the resources on the in-school are a bit geared for schooling, but you can adapt them. Okay, so for example, they'll probably be using learning story formats for planning in the preschool setting that you're in, so you can use the same kinds of format which you've got examples of in your early years learning framework educator's guide. There's good examples of moving from the observation and interests of the child, that rationale, into how to develop that into a learning story and a plan for that child's learning. So have a refer to the back of that guide, the Early Years Learning Framework Educator's Guide, for some examples that I think we've looked at before in earlier weeks. Teacher observation sheet, which you can find in your resources on the in-school site, so you can make observations of teaching strategies, which you will then practice yourself, and you'll learn what the teacher's doing. That might sometimes look like a group greeting, that greeting in the morning where the children might sit in a circle and the teacher might be dialoguing with them, more teacher-centered. You might see one-on-one interactions during the play program as it continues, where the teacher might be covering some intentional teaching with some of the children, a small focus group of the children. So, or the teacher might be walking around interacting with the children and getting involved with what they're doing and guiding them through conversation. So there's different strategies that you'll be observing. So make notes of those in the first couple of days in the first week. So you build up some understanding of the setting, how it's all working, in preparation, second half of the prac, which is when you start to be planning more. You might want to make an introductory poster or not, with a photograph of yourself and a little bit about yourself. You're framing yourself as a pre-service teacher, a university student, and a little bit about yourself. They might not want you to put that up. They might think that's a good idea. When you meet your mentor, ask, say that you've made one of those up. It's okay if he or she doesn't want to use it, but sometimes they like you to put that up so parents can see who you are. So you need to have your teacher and school details with you, their number and their email. So if you do fall sick at any time during the prac, you need to ring in as you would as if it was a workplace, email and call to let them know, and you need to make a doctor's appointment and get a medical certificate for that day. You need to take with you identity. You need your child safe card for the jurisdiction that you're in the territory. We call it an OCA card. You need to have your student card from the university. So you need to get that done electronically if you're in a different part of the country, but you must be able to identify yourself. I think that covers everything, and I'm still the only person in the room. So that's okay, because we have covered the 6 weeks. I think that clarifies everything. If not, do feel free to email me for any questions or concerns that you have about your prac. I know a lot of you are still waiting for confirmation, and they are working on that, so try to be patient. Week 7, it means that there'll probably be some time over the school holidays for the teachers and the principal to get themselves organised to taking on pre-service teachers. So there's often a flurry straight after the Easter break where they've had a yes back and you'll get your placement. So hopefully that'll be good. But any concerns, email me, and yeah, maybe go through everything that I've given you in terms of the in-school site. Have a look at your submission points in the LearnLine site. Have a look back at the assignments that you're documenting whilst you're on prac. And yeah, and then you can feel quite relaxed and looking forward to it because you'll be all ready and organised before you go. The other issue that's just come into mind is the ethics around photographs. So when you see your mentor, you need to find out about that, because you can't go snapshotting on your phone around the classroom. You need to be very careful about that. and how you use and take photos. They probably have a system in place with the learning stories, and that'll be confidentially documented and looked after very carefully. So be mindful of that. I think that's all. So email me and have a lovely long weekend. So this session is only 20 minutes, that's fine. I will be back in the room in week 8 at 1 o'clock on a Thursday, just in case any of you want to come on and chat, or if you want to email me your number, because I haven't really had any students in the room for a couple of weeks. But I hope that at least you've been listening to the recordings that I've been making throughout, and that you've covered the coursework. One more thing about assignment 1. Yes, you do need to have references for that assignment. Be referencing at least the ASEQA website and the quality standards, the early years learning framework, most likely. You might also refer to the Laura Burke child development as well. Yeah, so it is usual for you to have a small reference list for that. Use APA referencing guide, which is available at the library. We've just had a new one out earlier in the year. And our librarian, Kelly George, is the education librarian who can help you at the library for anything specific across all of your units, actually. So, okay. And your first years, so referencing is very important. I think most of you are first years, but referencing is very important to develop throughout your degree. So make sure you pay some attention to that educator's guide, and that APA guide, and have that at hand. All right, let you go and have your long weekend. Have a nice relaxing time, and yeah, enjoy the break next week. I might see you back in the room or on email by week 8. All the very best. Thank you.